Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Good whatever it is, depending on where you're tuning in. Hold on. My camera is being a little bit wonky. Just give me a second before I resume to see if I can get this thing to focus. Hold on. There we go. Is that better? There we go. Yes. Okay. Let's do this again. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jules. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a commercial food photographer and stylist and soon to be cookbook author. And every single Saturday we sit and we chat and we share what we have coming up and what happened during our last weeks. And we plan or you journal or you do art or you just have me rambling in the background while you clean, do whatever on your Saturdays. As it is the last Saturday of September this week, I am setting up my Jibun Techo diary and days for October, and maybe part of a project planning stuff in my Hobonichi cousin. Hello, Anomic. How are you today? How was your week? I had a lot happen this past week. What are you up to today? Are you planning? Are you getting ready to move again? What do you have going on? Well, you let me know. I'll wait for your answer before I start rambling on about some things that happened this past week. This week has been a busy week for me with some unexpected surprises. Oops, I'll make sure that stays nicely. Add my tabs. And then we gotta add this tab here. Weekly, where are we? These stickers I get off of Amazon. Anomic today is mainly doing meal planning. Cool. So, this week has been a week. I received, if you saw, the video's up, I did my massive Shein haul. Monomic's also saying travel meal planning out of their travel kitchen set. Oh, that's an interesting challenge. That actually sounds like fun to me. For some people, that may be stressful, but to me, that sounds fun. So yeah, I got machine haul for my I made a book celebration. So if you haven't watched that video yet, the unboxing is I posted that on, I think it was Thursday I posted that. And then, hold on, let me just, give me 1 second before I continue with some other things that happened this week. Trying to get this done. Okay, so, another thing aside from, Anomic saying that, yes, they saw the Shein haul. They really liked those paint sampler type stickers. Yeah, right? Like, I think those are like $3 a piece. Yeah, they were one of my favorite things that I saw. Another thing that I got this week, and I shared a live unboxing video on my Twitter account. But my other I made a book reward were the Star Trek boots. These are the actual boots that they use on as part of the costume for Star Trek Strange New Worlds. They are super expensive, but worth every single dollar that I spent on these bad boys. They're amazing. What else is Anomic saying is that they also were like, wow, they had to get rid of so much stuff, and they could have sent it to you. You probably could have sent it to me. I have to do an unhaul though soon, but it's not because I have too much stuff. It's because, as we've discussed before, some of the stuff that I got in sticky packs in my subscription are just things that I will never use because they're not my aesthetic. So I'm going to, hopefully, because I have my 2-week staycation coming up, hopefully we'll finally get that stuff set up on Etsy. Yeah, track boots. Wow, so cool. Yeah, they are hilarious, and I wish I meant to bring the card that they include that has like things not to do with the boots, things not to expose it to, how to take care of the boots, and one of the things that it's like don't expose it to extreme temperatures and blah blah blah. But they added to it Klingons. Don't expose your boots to Klingons, which I thought was really really cute. And because I'm not. I was in a bit of a rush today. I put away that stuff last night, and then I forgot to take it back down this morning. So that happened this week. I got my Star Trek boots. I got my Sheen haul. And then on Wednesday, it was confirmed that I have sleep apnea. I have 20 episodes of apnea every hour. And what that means is for 20 times in an hour, I stop breathing for a minimum of 10 seconds. Which is a lot, and no wonder why I feel crummy and can barely get above 3 spoons a day. And I've been fighting with doctors for years, saying, like, and by years I mean like decades, that I have sleep apnea. And they kept saying, nope, you don't fit the criteria, you're not obese, you're not this, you're not that. There's no possible way you have sleep apnea. They would say there's no possible way, you don't fit the criteria, and you're tired because of this and this and this, and all things that were recently, I was told, were also misdiagnoses. So at least now, I have a diagnosis that I've been trying to fight for a long time, and that I'm not, like, diagnose seeking. And so it's going to be a while before I can get fitted for a CPAP machine, just because they have such a huge backlog right now. Apparently a lot of people learned over the panini that they have sleep apnea. I don't know what it was about the panini that made people get tested, but it's caused a bit of a backlog for that. But I do have that diagnosis. And so, hopefully, and then also, so there's so many things. Like, I was diagnosed with POTS, which I still may have, but sleep apnea also causes AFib. So, the AFib that I have may be actually because of the sleep apnea and not because of POTS. My catastrophic high blood pressure that is resistant to treatment could turn out that it's actually because sleep apnea causes high blood pressure. Because I do all the things. I exercise, and not because of, like, I'm not saying, but I eat healthy, I exercise, I'm active, I have really great sleep hygiene, I do all the things you're supposed to do, and I had impeccable high blood pressure, and then suddenly it went, like, catastrophic levels. That's caused by sleep apnea. My cholesterol levels are elevated for, again, there's nothing I can tweak in my diet to change that. That's another thing that is, like, a symptom of sleep apnea. Just a few, there's many things that my symptoms, I've had the symptoms of, like, moderate sleep apnea for more than a minute now, maybe a month. And, you know, like, that means, like, years and years. And doctors just absolutely refusing to test me for it until my pain specialist at the pain clinic told my doctor, you know what, you should test him for sleep apnea, because, I mean, he's had multiple partners tell him that he stops breathing in the middle of the night, and, like, I started to snore even before I would fall asleep, because, like, as soon as I get comfortable and my heart rate drops below 60 beats a minute, my airway shuts off. It gets obstructed. and I have problems swallowing even while I'm awake when I'm in that like half awake, half asleep stage. So yeah, that was a thing that happened this week, which I'm glad that I have a diagnosis and I can be treated. Jules, you need to stop piling on. I know. I know. Did I do this on the wrong month? No. It's a little funny. I mean, not like really funny, but you know what I mean, right? It's a thing. So hopefully, once I'm treated, what it will mean is that my pain will be easier to manage. My blood pressure will um, go back to my like growing up. Like I had growing up, my doctor was like, "You're gonna live for 100 years because your blood pressure is so amazing." And then all of a sudden, it wasn't amazing. So anyways, it's good news in so far as it can be treated, and hopefully, all of the things that I've developed as a result of it being untreated for so long will reverse themselves. So, hopefully, you will feel. Yes, that's the thing too. Like I have not felt rested since sleeping since I was a teenager. So 30 years it has been since I have felt rested after sleep. That is how, and I've had sleep apnea symptoms since I was a teenager. And when I shared the news on Twitter that I was diagnosed with sleep apnea, it's like, what is it going to be like to have sleep and feel like I've actually slept, and not that I've had a wrestling match all night and that I've like waking up 100 times a night. Literally. I mean, it's even on my sleep tracker on the Fitbit. It's like I'm waking up during REM sleep when you're not supposed to wake up because I'm not breathing, right? So, anyways, so that's the thing that happened that I'm actually very thankful for, because it means treatment, and hopefully a lot of the stuff I've developed will reverse itself once I get the CPAP machine and start sleeping um, and actually like getting sleep for more than 2 minutes at a time before being woken up. What's that going to be like? Like seriously, like I don't know what it's like to not be like so fatigued that if I stop moving I fall asleep. And I'm like, yeah, it's like you forgot what good feels like. Exactly. So that's going to be interesting. For people who are new here and are wondering what I'm doing, I'm on my 2-week staycation during this period, and thanks to Anomic, who's here in chat, I block off my staycation with washi tape, and I still have some things happening this week that are not, but I'll figure out a way to add them in to these 2 weeks. We'll get that done. So that's the thing that happened. Also, another thing that happened this week is my book has a new title, which sometimes it's not as usual. Like book titles normally always get a title change from what the author like pitched it as to when it's published. But because it's like so late in the game, I was not expecting a title change, but one came, and I wrote about it on my author website, which, do I have it linked in my YouTube? No, I don't. And my last name is a bit of a bear to spell. Jules Sherrod, SHERRED.com. And if you click on the news, then you'll see a blog post about my book has 3 different names, and how it's gone, like the evolution and why. But so my book title up until this past, was it Wednesday that I got the new title? I mean, a lot happened this week. I'll check in a minute. The title up until this past week was Crip Up the Kitchen, Realistic Tips, Tricks, and Recipes for the Disabled Kitchen. And the title now is Crip Up the Kitchen, Tools, Tips, and Tricks for the Disabled Cook. It's a subtle change, but it is amazing change. It's more reflective of the book's contents, and like the biggest reason when they had the meeting with the sales reps to like go over the sales copy and the cover, the sales rep was like, well, there's kitchen twice in the title, and that's redundant. Can we change that, fix that? And then I came back with, well, what about realistic tips, tricks, and recipes for the disabled cook, which I originally wanted. And they're like, okay, cool, but also there's a huge section of the book that's dedicated to tools for disabled cooks to use. Can we work in the world tools into the cover? And then the acting publisher, which is a job title, proposed to me realistic tips, tools, and recipes. And then I countered with, well, can we do tools, tips, and recipes, since that is the order in which those sections are in the book. And it makes more sense for the title to reflect the organization of the book and not just the contents. At least for my autistic brain, it would have driven me absolutely a little bit bonkers every time looking at the title and not having it reflect like the order. It's an autistic OCD thing. And so, yeah, that happened. Also this week. What else happened this week? This was a busy week for me. Let me look. I got my last, that was Thursday that I got the new book title. Star Trek Boots, Sleep Apnea Diagnoses. Got my last Sticky Club subscription because, as I've said, I canceled it. Wonomic is saying, at first they thought I was going to say they didn't want the word there because of the American gang. So, here, there is, because in Canada, and the primary audience is going to be Canadian and international, and nobody outside of America knows that there is a gang called the Crips. It's not common knowledge. There was a little bit of concern about using the word Crip Up, only because Crip is historically a pejorative term for people who are disabled people. And there was a little bit of concern that people who are not familiar with cripping being reclaimed by the disabled community, specifically in activism, in the same way that queer has also been reclaimed, they were worried that it would turn off buyers. Not necessarily disabled purchasers of the book, but able-bodied people wanting to buy it for their disabled friends' relations, thinking that they're buying them a book that has an insult in the title. And so I countered with, like, Crip Up is, like, the whole book is disrupting ableism. It is, like, making sure disabled voices are included in all aspects of the life, including the kitchen. And that's what the term is. It's about disrupting ableism and ensuring that disabled-owned voices are heard and respected in all areas of life, and including them in all areas of life. So I said, how about we put, there's like the top bold line of the marketing copy that is like the elevator pitch. And then there's like the paragraph copy afterwards. And I said, how about if we add a line in between that top copy and the marketing copy that has the definition of what crip up means, so that people understand that it's a term used by disabled disability rights activists and academia to denounce taking back power and ensuring that, like, it's a verb, it's an active disruption of the status quo, and it's used in advocacy and change efforts, which would before it was like weaponized social justice movements, right? So they were happy with that. So, and that was my biggest fear, was that that ableism would win out, and they would be like, we can't use the word crip up, even though that's what you use to describe yourselves. Just like there was lots of pushback in marketing, in publishing about queer being used on titles. There was huge pushback before people understood that queer is a term that we are reclaiming, just like crip is a term there's a lot of disabled people, and there's even art festivals that are called Cripping Up Art and stuff like that in Canada. The Canadian Council for the Arts gives out CRIP like awards that are like named that. So, and that was my biggest fear, but that ableism and worry about offending able-bodied people, because using a word that does not apply to them, that they have no. It's like, I know you're not. It's like telling a queer person you can't use queer, or using whatever a group like marginalized groups that you can't use the terms that you have decided are the terms that are fit for your community. Like, and that happens with all. Every time I do a seminar about decolonizing photography, and I say like stop using like it's not bad to say a brown person or a black person, and you have to acknowledge skin color, because skin color is what like drives people of color's experiences. Like, you cannot. Oh, that reminds me. Hold on, let me read chat. So Anomik is saying that makes sense, and Anomik is glad that you were able to keep it. So am I. So yeah, that was my biggest fear. And then, but I was able, like, we were able to find a good ground on that. So, oh my goodness, I watched Deconstructing Karen on CBC Gem last night. My goodness. And the description of it is like white women are invited to dinner to have their racism and white supremacy challenged, and things get wild fast is like the description. And boy, did things get wild fast, because there was like immediately these white women who are like, I don't see color, and we all bleed red, and my mouth is like I'm not surprised, but I'm just like, no. Like, you need to back up and stop. And there was one white woman at the table whose role was to challenge these ideas, aside from having a brown and a black woman, and the brown woman was a Muslim Indian, and then the black woman is African American, and she uses the term African American because she is a descendant of slaves, or enslaved black people. So that's like, she uses that to describe herself because of her familiar history of being enslaved peoples. But there was one line that they actually like ground rules, because it was, these women were beyond fortitude, putting themselves like at the table with all these white women who think that they are that love is enough to get over institutional racism and systemic white supremacy in systems. But there was one rule, and I nearly lost it in like, oh my god, this is gonna upset them so much. That they had to lay a rule that there's no white women tears are allowed at the table, and it was the way they worded it was like, basically, you're white and you're not allowed to cry at this table. If you feel that you have tears coming into your eyes, you need to leave the table, because we will not be having your tears because you're feeling hurt, being confronted with how whiteness is upheld systemically to cause things to slide. And it was filmed before George Floyd, and that context is also important, because anyways, for any white person who is watching my stream, then I suggest clutches pearls at the colorblind concept. Yeah, like there was an audible gasp from me, and not out of surprise, but just out of like, because I'm not shocked, right? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, one of these, they were like, I'm so shocked this still happens. And it's like, that's the problem. Like, the fact that you want to believe that we all live this kumbaya state, and if black people were just nicer, these things wouldn't be happening to them, is why white liberals are the most, like Martin Luther King said, are the most dangerous people. Is because having that attitude just maintains the status quo. And it's like that with any form of oppression. If you refuse to, like, you have to get over your shock and be like, holy crap, this is what happens. This is the reality. I am inherently racist because of my skin color. And if you're white, I highly recommend, because it's very 101, challenging your internal biases, white supremacy, how ways in which white people, by their very nature of their whiteness, uphold systematic oppression of black people. It's very 101, but it's also very, very good. And people of color, especially black people, black women in particular, you need to steel yourself before watching it, because they show clips of the video of that woman who called the cops on the black man in Central Park. They show other footage. They go through a huge, long history of, like, big, huge lynchings in America. The riots. Oh my goodness. It starts with a T. I'm having a brain fart. It's not that I don't remember it. The Tulsa. No, is it Tulsa? The big where they burnt down the black neighborhoods. Was it Tulsa, Oklahoma? I'm having a brain fog moment. So there's a lot of footage, historical footage, of various things, horrible things, atrocities that have happened to black people in America. And how that stuff is still happening today. Jane Elliott is good at breaking down the bias. Yes, Tulsa. Thank you, Oklahoma. Yeah. So, but there's a specific name for those riots, and because it's not like, I only learned about, like, Black Wall Street and everything, I think it was like 6 years ago. So I always forget, like, the name that has been coined by Black Americans for that incident. I don't want to say incident. Incident downplays it, but that piece of white supremacy in action in America, and they go into, like, there's a good 101 explanation of how these historical events still shape what happens today in America and in Black America. And the one thing that I took away from it, because it was all concepts I was familiar with, is I wish they had a similar thing talking about the Black Canadian experience, because white Canadians like to think of ourselves, well, we were the end of the Underground Railroad. This is where freed slaves would run to. We look at us, we're good white Canadians. We helped free slaves, enslaved peoples. No, I mean, we weren't. Canada wouldn't allow black people to immigrate to Canada and gain Canadian citizenship until the 1980s. And there's this whole, we would allow black migrant workers into Canada to work jobs that white people didn't want to work at subpar wages, but we would not allow black people to immigrate to Canada until the 1980s, and that is systemic white supremacy in action. And black people, and, like, that's one of the reasons why Canada has so few black people outside of people who are descendants of freed American slaves. So there's a big black community and a few other spots that have to do with black Jamaicans coming to Canada to work on the rail system as porters. So, Tulsa Race Massacre. Yes, thank you. I know it had Tulsa and Massacre in it, but it was the race part that I couldn't remember. So, I need that, because there is so much of black history that is not taught in Canada, like black history as the Canadian experience. And I need to know in ways that I still need to check my internal biases. Monomic saying people were upset that America blacks did not care about the Queen's death. I was like, history people? Yeah. And here's the thing about that. Is because there's a lot of black Canadians, same history, and it was part of that history why black people were not allowed to come to Canada. and like become citizens. Um, but a lot of it's a generational thing. A lot of black Canadians who come from former colonies were actually very sad because they saw the queen the queen being the queen was when their African countries, especially Ghana, became independent, and they see the queen as playing a role in that independence. Um, Canadian Indigenous peoples are also very divided on that because all treaties in Canada are with the Crown. And it was the Crown, like, the whole, like, Indigenous people have say over their lands. That's what caused the Revolutionary War in America, the Royal Proclamation, which people like to say is about tea and taxes when it wasn't. It was basically King George said you cannot colonize beyond this point because that's Indigenous land, and we recognize Indigenous people and those nations. And in America, those 13 colonies were like, hey, you can't tell us where we can settle because God says we can settle wherever we see. They tried dragging the Canada colonies into it, and we're like, no, we're good. um, and that's another part of history that Americans aren't taught. Um, and so that's the whole thing where, like, if the crown were to disappear in Canada, then treaties would have to be renegotiated, and a lot of Indigenous people do not trust the government of Canada as a body to negotiate them per the royal. Like, it's complicated for sure, very complicated. And Anomik is saying, I think they said they colonized all but 22 countries in the world. Yes. Yeah, there was white, and that's a thing that they also brought up in, and it would be very interesting to have that conversation now that they brought up in the deconstructing Karen, was they brought up all the countries where Britain whiteness landed and either did a genocide on, or they did a genocide on Indigenous peoples, whether those Indigenous peoples were brown or whether those Indigenous peoples were black, and like explaining that it's no wonder that black people, especially black women, inherently do not trust white women. And one of the white women got really upset about that and made it about them instead of the black woman. And she's like, this is why I don't trust white women, is because I'm telling you a thing that happens to me daily and you're taking it personally and you're being upset because you feel like you're being attacked, instead of being like, well, crap, what can I do to challenge other white women so that they stop doing these aggressive things to you. And it's still like, that's what, when they're like saying like racism is in our bones, it's in the fabric of, as white people, like, we grew up being told that whatever we see is ours, and it does, and that we are more superior, and that we, like, still to this day there's like a bunch of white people in both America and Canada. It was like, well, you should be happy that Britain came because we civilized you, and it's like like, no. Like, stop, like, we have to stop this whole, gosh, people are gonna dislike this video watching it on replay because I'm going off. My politics are really showing here. But it's that's the whole, like that's the whole part of the problem. Like, having that idea, like that thinking that white culture is inherently better than any other culture. That is white supremacy. That is racism. That is systemic, and like that is still happening in the world today. And Anami is going, arg. Yeah, it's like it's so frustrating. And she, Anami's laughing. Yeah, with the tears emoji, but it's anyways. Sorry, not sorry, white people who are watching this on replay. But it's stuff like that that just really, just, I don't know. I think it's, for me, and I know you're not supposed to, but it's how, like, I'm hugely empathetic towards it, because, like, even though I'm white and I have white privilege, and I know that my whiteness, like, saves me from a lot of marginalization, being queer, being queer, multiple types of queer, being disabled, being autistic. Like, I know what it's like to have other people, like, try and say that because I'm these things, they are superior to me. but that's also stems from anti-blackness and the whole disabled people were part of celebrating culture until white people came along. Queer people were celebrated in culture until white people came along. It's all because of white supremacy. So, Anomic is saying, peaking of not using terms, the crazy state of Virginia is passing a law to say you cannot use preferred terms for students. You have to use whatever their biological birth term was. Yes. They also have to use the bathroom of assigned birth. Yes. I've been keeping up with all that because I'm married to an American, and it's very relevant. I cannot safely travel to the U.S. because every time I do, because of one of my queer labels, my passport gets seized, and names, they're assigned names instead of their real chosen names. It's horrible. It's absolutely, and that again, that's white supremacy, that in action, that is born out of colonial attitudes, and it's just so brazen now. And there was another thing that was challenged. I wish they would have challenged it more, and maybe it was cut. Was this whole idea when the white woman says it, it's just everybody just seems so worse now. It seems to be worse now, and it's no, it's not worse now. We're not quiet about it anymore. Crime and all that stuff has gotten better. The world is not worse. You just are uncomfortable and don't like the fact that that marginalized people, historically marginalized people, are not taking it anymore. That's the only thing that's gotten worse. Anomic is saying, how the heck can you even enforce something like that? It's so crazy. Yeah. I saw a thing, and this was really upsetting to me. That is a teacher in Texas, but this is going to be happening elsewhere where these laws are being implemented. A teacher in Texas phoned the police on a family because they were affirming of their trans child. And the way, the child was not out at school. The child was going by their assigned identity at school because they had to for safety reasons. So what this teacher has started to do, and this is white supremacy in action, what this teacher started to do was, people are just aware now exactly. What this teacher started to do was to stalk the social media channels of their students. And they came across the specific students, I'm looking at GG01, specific students' Instagram, and saw them dressing as their identified gender at home, and their parents affirming them as their actual real genders and not their assigned ones. And so the teacher phoned the police and child services on the family. And it wasn't even one of their own students. It was just a student in Texas, and they just took it upon themselves to start stalking students, not just theirs, but all students in Texas with social media. Thankfully for the child and the parents, they had already left Texas and are living in one of the states that has passed safe haven laws. Can you imagine? It's the year 2022. And it's not that it's not imaginable to me, but it's horrifying, as Anomic just said in chat, that here we are. There are states that have to pass safe haven laws, anti-extradition laws, so that people do not get deported from one state to another state because they're allowing their child to live authentically and be who they are, and saving them from unaliving themselves. So anyways, that is all what to go back to saying that you need to watch Deconstructing Karen, even if you think, because that's one of the things too, that's what a Becky is that you think that you've done all you need to do to challenge your biases, and that you've done all the anti-racism work, so you're good now. So watch it if you are white, and because all the stuff that's happening is because of white supremacy and colonialism, and it's horrific. And if you want to be, oh, another thing that bothered me. Sorry, I'm thinking about this now even more. Was they used someone brought up Martin Luther King, because you know how white liberals like to bring up Martin Luther King as like he did things peacefully. And I can't remember if it was which one of the two lady, like the women of color, brown and black women who were doing it, said it. But they were talking about how something about when Martin Luther King Jr. died. And I'm like, no, he didn't die. He was assassinated. And I wish they would have been more blunt with that language. Not because I'm telling them how to be. It's just because it's this whole thing. Like, the white people need to stop acting like Martin Luther King was not assassinated by the United States of America. Like, as an institution, the country, the government. And it does no good to shy away from this. It's confronting all the things that we do as a society and institutions to perpetuate racism and white supremacy. And I'm not saying if these people worried about helping others as much as they're concerned with their wounds and what is happening in the bedroom, this world would be so much better off. And now Nanak is saying that they will have to see that show. Yeah, and I'm just saying if you are a black woman in particular, but brown, black, and women of color, people of color in general, just go into it that there could be things that are triggering and could activate post-traumatic stress and just other things. And so be mindful and take care of yourself while you do that, because it does. There are some like big, huge like moments that are not surprising, but they're horrifying and just it is uncomfortable just because of the very nature of it. I have to check to make sure that I think Monday I have a dermatologist appointment. I think check that. So next Saturday, as I'm filling in my October calendar, I will not be having a live stream on Saturday because I will on the 1st next Saturday because I have an image competition today and I entered and I need to watch the live stream to see how my images did, and I can't believe we're already in October. Like, what the heck? Monomic is saying that they always try to soften the language to make themselves feel better. Yes. Yeah, and that's the whole... so, yes, white people do that. For real. Yes, it is on Monday. But, and the two women who are, like, this is the deconstructing Karen and Becky dinners... race dinners, race something dinners is like the term they use. They were not shying away from language, except for when it came to MLK. They did soften the language there, which I found interesting, because when I'm talking, like I'm supposed to, right? Like this is, like it's like no, dude was assassinated, dermatologist. And I think I might have spelt that wrong. And then I have also a deadline. I have to hand in my copy edits. No, proofreading. Proofs. Due. Put that there. So, it was good. What else did we watch? Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I found a new YouTube channel, too, that I want to tell everybody about. Because it is so wholesome. And if you need something wholesome in your life right now to counterbalance everything else, you need 30 minutes here and there of self-care. Tyler, I gotta think what his last name is. Where's my subscriptions? See all. Tyler, where are you? Tyler Bucket. Tyler Bucket's YouTube channel is all. It's an American who knows nothing about Canada, like most Americans. He figures himself to be the typical American, and I would agree. He's the typical white American dude who knows nothing about the neighbors to the north, closest allies and friends. And his channel is nothing about learning about Canada. And it is the most wholesome, hilarious thing to watch. And so, Tyler Bucket, if you need something to kind of counterbalance everything else and something to watch for moments of self-care, then I recommend Tyler Bucket. Okay, so yes, I need to put a deadline on that, but I think I'm going to be doing that on Thursday, or Friday, handing it in. Hold on, this is where I find my colors, not my phone. Deadlines. Okay, turn off phone deadlines. Where are we? RG120. There we are. Oh, wrong month. How did that happen? So, this is a deadline. My live plan with me is... Oh. And what day is... This is Thanksgiving, I think, is the 10th, huh? Gotta remember to block off that holiday. Let me double check that. So for Americans who are watching this, yes, our Thanksgiving is the second Monday of October. And I believe, like, you have a holiday as well then, and that's because of the American Uniform Act, was to make sure that Canada and the U.S. had holidays together as much as possible. Yes, Thanksgiving is on the 10th, so I gotta block that off as a holiday. Do I have a turkey anywhere? I need a gobble gobble or a leaf or something on me to put on the 10th. Namic is saying, have you played any new games lately? They need a new cozy type of game for downtime. The only game... So there's... What do you mean by cozy? Like, do you like... I know there's like Cozy Grove is one that's really cozy and great, and I recommend for people who want cozy games if you're not playing that. But if you enjoy city builder type games, like not Civilization, but more like Pharaoh and Cleopatra or Caesar or Zeus, like those old games. Okay, yeah. 10th is the Indigenous Peoples Day. Yeah, so yeah. So that is the reason why it's celebrated on this Monday is because of our Thanksgiving, which has nothing to do with anything settler related. Our Thanksgiving is actually religious based, and it never used to. You used to have like different parts of Canada celebrating at different times, and then we all decided, hey, let's do it this Monday. And then America's like, well, then we have to have a holiday on that Monday as well. Because we can't, like, trading partners and anyways. So yeah, I knew that's what it was. And Memorial Day is another one of those holidays that are... But Memorial Day, they didn't figure that one out correctly for when Canada has Victoria Day in May. I think that's when I don't know. Okay, I am... Turkey, that's what I'm looking for. Wait, no, the game. Sorry. It's like it's low paced and it has different levels, and it's methodical. Like I find it cozy just because. Let me open up Steam because I always forget the title. It's computer PC based. Go into my library. Hold on a second. Oh, hide my pen. And Farthest Frontier. It's a game that, Farthest Frontier. And let me see if I can open this. I find it cozy. Because it's just a very, like, I'm going to put some towns here. It's really cute in some ways. Cozy to me means no real strategy needed. So, on the lowest difficulty level, like they have a level, and this is based off, like, it's an early access right now, and this is based off of user feedback for people who want something that is just completely like, I just want to put houses everywhere and watch them evolve and not have to think too much about city planning. They have a level of difficulty which is basically just I'm just gonna watch my town grow, and I'm not gonna worry too much about disaster happening, and all of a sudden, like, it's very difficult to fail, and if you just need something to do. Then there's another game that just came out on Nintendo Switch, if you have that a friend of mine recommended, and it's on my list. I haven't played it yet, but I've seen lots of, like, friends play it, and it's called Oubliettes, like sorry, Oubliettes, It's kind of like Animal Crossing meets Cozy Grove meets there's another Stardew Valley, is how it's pitched. Oubliettes. Sorry, not oubliettes. Oubliettes, a French word for forgetfulness. Yeah, so oubliettes. Oobletts. A game about farming, creatures, and adventure. And it's just super cute. Like, I watch play videos all the time, and I'm going to be getting it, and I'm probably going to play it a bunch. But that's, oubliettes. If I could get the Switch away from your kid, I'm going to see if it's on any other platforms. Because I think it might be Switch, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. So you're in luck if you have a Switch, Xbox One, or Microsoft computer. Then you can play Oubliettes, and that is on my list of things to start during my staycation. I was doing a holiday on the 10th, so I do not forget, because I am bad at remembering holidays. MG020. I wish I had, one day I'm going to do that. I'm going to set up so I use, what's it called? OBS, but there's, like, OBS software, OBS streaming to stream to YouTube, and it allows you to, like, create scenes and stuff. And I think one day I'm gonna set up the stream so when we're discussing things like video games or whatever, because I really want to show you the video for it and just be like, isn't that so cute? I mean, like, you just have creatures that follow you around and they help you farm, and it's just a cute game. And only reason why I haven't gotten it yet is because I am in the middle of proofreading and having to do another round of photography for the book. And I know that if I was to get the game now, then it would suck me in. And I would not want to get any other work done. So I'm waiting till the holiday to buy Oubliettes. Anomic is saying that after their bedtime, it's theirs, all theirs. Yeah. That's one thing. Like, I miss having small kids, which everyone thinks I am crazy. But watching humans grow into humans and learning and, like, just figuring stuff out is so fascinating to me. I love it. I like watching it. I like human development. And so, CG020, where are we? And I miss having that. And my grandkids live so far away, I don't get to see them all that often. Like, it's been a while, especially with the panini that's been happening. It's been a couple years since I've seen my grandkids. Which is a long time. But I actually miss, like, having gaming with my kids. We were a gaming household. And I really, like, I just have such fun, like, the same thing, waiting for them to go to bed so that I could play with the Nintendo, like, GameCube at the time. And then it was the Wii. We also had Xbox for them. But yeah, I miss that a lot. Anomic is saying, totally off topic, but what is the best way to keep shadows off when taking photos of papers or docs to send when taking them on the phone? No access to light. Okay, so I'm about to blow your mind. Imagine this is a big sheet of white paper, like printer paper. It's regular white paper. If you, let's see if I can create a shadow on here. I mean, it's going to be difficult. Is this going to put a shadow? Yeah, so there's a bit of a shadow. And if you put the white paper, like here, you see some of the shadow got knocked away just by putting a piece of white paper there. It's that simple. The white paper reflects light back into the scene. And so if you could even like build, like tape some white paper onto like a cereal box cardboard or whatever, and then like encase the whole entire four sides of what you're wanting to photograph to create like a photography booth. And so it would be like knocking off the shadows on all the sides. But I mean, this is like a really horrible example, but you can even see it on here that this lightens up just by putting white paper there. So yeah, hopefully that helps. What else do I have to put? I feel like I'm missing something that's happening. Wait, there's like, no, that's not till November that The Crown comes back on Netflix. Holidays, Halloween, okay, Thanksgiving. I'm gonna put that right here. Thanks. Giving. And I was like, wow, mind blown emoji. Who knew? Jules did. Yeah. I mean, having a streamer who's also a professional photographer. I mean, but it is like, it's the first time I learned that. I had a similar reaction, and the way that I learned that was I was doing a course about how to make your food photos better in a restaurant setting where all you have are your phones, someone else who has like their flashlight on their phone, and maybe you have some white paper on you. You could even use like the white of the menu to create, to like, yeah, to make the lighting better. Except for in the menu situation is the other person would shine their flashlight through the white paper to act like as diffused soft light and to make to knock out the restaurant's yellowish lights. And then you could also use some other piece of white paper to reflect light back into the scene. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm glad that was able to sufficiently blow your mind, because that's the same reaction that I had when I first learned that trick. And this is to do. Let's see. This is hilarious. I've had this to-do list since my last holiday, and I was wanting to get it done on my last holiday, and it still hasn't been done because of, as you know, migraines and a flare. Just so let's see. So, I'm almost done my site revamp though. That might not have to be moved over, but I know for sure that I still need to do a Patreon post with new art. Post new art. Oh, and Anamika is saying you have had so much going on. Yeah, it's been like always. I think things are like getting back to normal, whatever normal is, right? or I forget how busy I am until I actually look back at my weeks. I'm like, wow, that was like this week alone. I had I did, how much photography did I do this week for the book? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm doing 2 more today. So yeah, so my regular week, I still have to like color my blocks, all that plus photography, plus proofreading, plus dealing with like working on no sleep, and just that just exhaustion all the time. And this past couple weeks, it's been like I stop moving, I fall asleep, and because I also have insomnia, I normally don't fall asleep like during the day, even though I'm like beyond fatigued, unless I'm having an infection, like unless there's something extra going on. And this past week, there was quite a few number of times that I sat on the couch at my lunch break and have fallen asleep. And and so that was like my day done. Manami saying, I don't mean to sound ableist, but you get more done with all you have going on than some who do not have no disabilities and nothing else to do. It's amazing. So that does not sound ableist. And that I'm glad you said that, because it's not like, because why that is, and it never used to be that way. Why that is that I listen to my body, and I find, like, even when I take off a whole entire half day, like, if I look at last week, that's the wrong month. If I look at last week, like, I took all of Monday off because I was not feeling great. This week, I had a meeting on Wednesday that it triggered my post-traumatic stress and activated me, so I had to take all of Wednesday off. And it's because I check in with my body, and I have the system of, okay, this is how many spoons I have, this is what my energy is, I have a list of things that I know I'm capable of doing, and I don't push through. Except for when I have deadlines, like this photography, there are some days where I probably should have been resting. But, like, one day this week I fell asleep on the couch, and I was able to get the shoot done in the morning, which normally doesn't happen. But yeah, it's just because of the system that I've developed, of where if I need to take a day off, I take a day off. Because if I don't take that day off, then I'm wrecked for 2 weeks, instead of being just wrecked for that day. And this is why things like 4-day work weeks in countries that have implemented 4-day work weeks, the workforce is overall more productive, even though they're working less hours, because they have more energy, like they're more refreshed, they have more going on, like their mental health, their physical health, everything is better. So that's my lesson for people who may feel guilty, because we all have that ableism, internalized ableism, that tells us we're lazy if we don't push through, and you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, just reinforce in your brain that I am more productive when I take breaks off when my body says I need to take a break. Still imagine waking up with 5 spoons every day. You might be invincible. I know. Like, that's the whole... Oh, I cannot, like... It's going to be a minute to get over having a mask on my face for the CPAP machine. Because, like, having the equipment on for my sleep study woke me up, like, wide awake, instead of just, like, those little blips, multiple times during the night. So I know it's going to be a bit for me to be able to get over something touching me while I'm sleeping. It's going to bother my autistic sensitivity stuff, like, to the nines. So the first little bit's going to be torture. I know that. But once I get over that, because I know my body eventually will, like, it won't be a thing. As my partner would say, it would make no never mind. Once my body gets over it, then, like, I'm just saying, like, what's it going to be like to wake up and feel like I've actually slept, instead of feeling like I got into a fist fight all night long. And Anamik is saying that they will not let me be humble about how much you accomplish. Well, thank you. Because, yeah, but that might be scary. Like, can the world handle a me when I'm not beyond exhausted? And when I'm just dealing with fatigue because of chronic pain instead of fatigue with chronic pain and disordered, like, beyond really disordered sleep. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna be dangerous. Like, but in a good way. In a good way. And it's just, there's so many things that I have not, like my last, like this has been sitting around since last holiday, because last holiday I knew I just like, you know what, I just need to crash and burn this holiday and do absolutely nothing but binge stuff on the couch all day long, because that's what my body needed. And like, this is stuff that if it happens, it happens. It's no big deal. Watch out, world, and I'm saying exactly. You guys are all going to be sorry that I advocated for myself. I'm just going to bring these down instead of reaching up all the time. I'm looking for 65. 65, where are we? There's too many. Also, I'm hoping next week, I keep checking Wonder Pens, see if they got the Jibuns in yet. And they don't, because I need, getting really antsy. I see so many people who are like, here's my Jibun for 2023. And I'm like, I just want to start planning 2023. I know, like, my book comes out in 2023. I have stuff to do. I need it in my life. Okay. I feel like, oh, that was a bad outline. What else do I have? Oh. Yes. My first, how am I going to do this? This is the first week of how to cook a book, but I don't know what day the live class is going to be, so I can't plan that yet. That reminds me, I have to put out a reminder, social media, that registration for that course is ending soon. I'm just wondering if there is a way for me to, like, put a flag. Yes, are my flags in here? Just to flag it off, so to have, like, just a little visual cue that that's the week that I start teaching. Oh, here we go. So much stuff in this little drawer. Here's my flags. Every time I say flags, I know Big Bang Theory is problematic in multiple ways, but everything is problematic. But fun with flags. Every time I say the word flags, I always think about fun with flags and just how fun that was. So I'm gonna flag right here. I think that makes sense. Put that there, just so I have a little bit of a visual cue that something is starting that week. And this is overpacked now. Sorry. Let me just tidy this drawer. Back. So, but I still feel, so image competition, dermatologist, proofs due. Let me look at my Gantt charts to see when round 2 of proofreading and indexing is supposed to start. I can't put it in yet. Oh, my dongs. Okay. Seriously, Jules. October, Namika saying, have you ever planned with sticker kits? No. And the reason why I haven't is they don't make them for the Jibun, number one. And I really wish Monsters Co. would make her sticker kits for the Jibun. Because at least Monsters Co. has some that are like gender neutral and not overtly feminine. Where all the other sticker kits that I've seen for the Hobonichi, they're all very feminine. And I understand a lot of journalers and people who do decorative journaling and planning are women. That said, there are many of us. There's a good group of us who are not women, identifying people who journal, who like to do decorative journal, and there's a lot of women identifying people who are masculine and who probably would also enjoy either gender neutral or more masculine kits. Personally, I would like things that are just more not gendered and have like I like purple. Like it's not really so much the colorway. It's just there's like they're just very gendered, and that's the thing. Like overall in the planner community, is that things are still very very gendered. Like I like things that are pretty. I just roses and girls wearing sweaters. Like that's not me. And there's nothing wrong with that stuff, but it's not me. And my journal is a reflection of me in my life. So, but I'm always fascinated about them. I've thought about designing my own that to fill that space, but that's a lot of work. And then having to find printers, like maybe one day, maybe that will be a project for me for 2023 is to create a more neutral line of planner kits, and also for the Jibun. I'm not saying they have the only ones that they have seen are the coffee kits that are more neutral. Yeah, so there's more. Yeah, there are huge. There's a few journalers that I watch out like memory. They do memory keeping and stuff primarily out of the UK, and they use like I can't even remember the name of the sticker kit companies. Round 2 happens updated on the 20th. Oh, that same week. All the way to end of there, and then I do the index in November. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I would love... And another thing about the Coffee Monster Co's one is the sticker material is... like a few, like it's that much thicker than washi tape where it would really bulk this up, which is fine. I don't mind the chunkiness, as you have seen with my 6 months of the days. But yeah, it's the size thing. 5 spoon jewels with an entire planner sticker line coming in 2023 or 2024. I know, like that's a thing that I've thought about it. I've thought about it quite often, and my partner's like, you already have enough jobs. I'm like, but this isn't... I mean, it would be a job, but I wouldn't... Yeah. It's just something... There is a niche there. There is a need, and if somebody who's watching this on replay, like, has the ability to do it now, to fill in that niche of... gender neutral, masculine leaning planner kits, and not just for the Hobonichi, but also for the Jibun. There's a market for it. For across all genders, because there's also male identifying people who like things that are more feminine and are probably perfectly cool with the existing kits. But I'm just saying more options. More options is always good. I'm trying to figure out what else. I need to go back to my calendar and look at it in the monthly mode. See what else I have happening. Something happened. No, not September. Wrong month. Here we go. October. I have a meeting on this day. No, I'm saying that would be great. They're tired of pink everything and flowers everything. Yeah. And with me, like I have like pink hurts me. And that may seem weird, but like part of my sensory issue is like pink. There's something about the frequency of the color pink that causes me physical pain. It's a sensory processing thing, And that, like, everything that I'm unhauling is basically all the pink stickers that and washi tape and stuff that I've gotten in packs that I'm just never going to use. That there's lots of people who would love them, but they're just not. I like neutral colors. I like muted colors. I like jewel tones. But pink is just one of those colors where it's not. Oh, CPAP fitting there. That's happening on this day. CPAP. My handwriting is atrocious today. The last few days, or weeks, I should say, not weeks, days, but weeks. Or even femme-identifying folks who like that look too. Yeah, I mean, there's like gender and expression are completely different things, and so there's folks across all genders who would want something that's more muted and more earthy and more. I mean, there's the brown ones, but they also have pink. Like, every sticker kit that I've said that has pink, the other complementing color is brown. Like, well, what about brown and blue, or brown and purple? I would have fun with brown and purple. This is a biz meeting. Biz meetings. GG01. This day. Ooh. That came on very wet. And then this is a personal meeting. Medical. Oh, that went outside the lines, which is fine. How much time do we have? Oh, it's almost getting to that time. I wish there was a way to do next week's live plan with me while also watching the image competition and seeing how my images do in it and celebrating or getting angry with the judges together. But the live stream is being streamed in a private Facebook group. It's not open to the public. Otherwise, I'd be like, hey, come watch the live stream with me and let's have a chat somewhere. I don't know, maybe spin up like what's the server called that they use? My brain is I'm having a really bad brain day. Cognitive toaster, like aphasia, that's the word I'm looking for. Discord, that's it. And be like, hey, that's baloney. What am I looking for? Business meeting. N75. Why do I keep putting these back when I'm not done with them? There we go, that was easy to find. So that reminds me that, and that's also when round 2 proofreading should be happening. And where's my personal color? There it is. 990. This is hour and a half long to get fitted for a CPAP machine. That's a long. It's also learning to use it because here's the thing. So back in the day, like CPAP machines used to be like the size of like 3 car batteries, and now they are like this big. Like maybe. Okay, so this is gonna be an accurate representation. They're about like the size of an A5, 2 A5 journals together is what CPAP machines are like now. Hold on, I'm gonna. Sorry, my throat got caught. No, because saying plan ahead stickers had a coffee steam kit with no pink, and they were like, finally, I think I am going to order it. Yes, that's a good. Yeah. So, oops, focus. So, but the new CPAP machines, they have mini computers in them. My throat just suddenly got like scratchy. Hold on. And they let you know how many times you stop breathing during the day, and then they automatically, or during the night, and then they have a readout. And I think part of the reason why the meeting's an hour and a half long is because I have to learn how to like access the readouts and change like the airflow settings on my machine based off of like what it monitors during the night when I'm sleeping. Um, and I was saying, yes, the new ones are so much better. Their aunt has a newer one. Yeah, I just found it so amazing because I was expecting like this big, huge honking monstrosity, and when I went for like my first appointment to like pick up the overnight sleep study equipment, and I saw them sitting on the shelves, I'm like, those are tiny, like, because I was worried like, where am I gonna put this thing if I when I'm diagnosed with sleep apnea? Like, what? I have no room for a monstrosity beside my bed. What else is happening in October? I think that's it for now. Oh, no, turn off camera. Let's see. Do I have time to fill in this week? I remember that Friday's a holiday. I'm out of town speaking at Simon Fraser University on the evening of the 28th. And that's going to be an adventure because we have to. My dog sitter fell through. The cats were fine on their own overnight, but you can't leave dogs for that long, obviously. My dog sitter fell through because they got an infection. And Alex is like, they like to slide. They sleep side to stomach, so it would be hard for you either way. So here's an interesting thing. When you have sleep apnea, they recommend that you sleep on your right side because it helps. I naturally am a side sleeper on my right side. So that part of my sleep routine I don't have to change. And the masks are actually designed for side sleeping. Sometimes I will lie not really so much on my stomach, but more in the recovery position that unless you know first aid and know about how to place somebody in a recovery position, which is kind of like a prone, but but kind of also kind of propped up on the side, so one arm underneath and the legs are anyways. So, but for the most part, I sleep on my right side, and there's about part of the night I will spend about half an hour on my back. And I already knew this about me, but this was confirmed also in the sleep study because like they have the equipment they attach you to also has like readouts about how you're laying because it has like a gyrometer inside of the pack that you wear around your chest. Military crawl, yeah, similar to that, yes. So, but yeah, was I? So yeah, we're taking the dogs with us to the mainland, which is going to be an adventure. They're going to be have to be in the hotel room. We're buying out like a travel kennel because they have their kennels, but between my chair and the dogs, they're normal kennels, like the hard plastic ones that you're supposed to use on airplanes, won't fit in the car. So, but that's happening this week. We're going away. I have to speak in front of 100 people, which is fine, but it's a masked event. We're all wearing masks because we're still in a panini. But do I have time to even start setting up this next week? No, I don't think so. It's only like 7 minutes. So what can I do to kill time in this 7 minutes? I think I want to add some more decoration. Also, so this is the last sticky kit for my subscription life. Oh, I know what I can do in the last 7 minutes because I haven't even set up the days part yet. Yeah, it's gonna be the thing that I'm not looking forward to with the trip is the ferry ride because I have to phone or like let the ferry know, or we have to show up earlier than usual for lineup so they can park us at the front of the boat so we can get my chair out of the car and I can access the elevators. So there's that whole extra rigmarole. And then for safety reasons, passengers are not allowed to stay in their vehicles during travel. And so we have to leave the dogs in the car by themselves for a while. An hour and 40 minutes ish is the ferry from Nanaimo to Vancouver. And that's a long time to leave. And if any car alarms go off or whatever, right, it's going to be stressful for them. We're leaving early enough in the day where we will have a couple hours for them to acclimate to the hotel room before we have to leave them again for a couple more hours for this talk. But we've never gone anywhere with them. Like, we've taken day trips with them. They get car sick, so we're expecting them to get sick in the car. But I think they're going to have fun. But we are kind of... they're always up for an adventure. But also, beagles get really loud when they are adventuring. I mean, if you've ever watched a video with beagles, like, participating in a hunt, I mean, they get, like, a really high-pitched bark. That's excitement. That sounds like they're being murdered. But that's their, like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. And so we're worried that they're going to do that while we're gone in the hotel room. So, but I'm looking forward to this all expenses paid trip to the mainland. It's been a while since, and they're having the event masked because I requested it, which is also nice because we're still masking for obvious reasons. I don't know, like saying, oh, I hope they will be all right. So do I. I mean, I think they will be fine, especially because we're gonna have a couple hours for them to get used to the new surroundings, and we're bringing their blankets and a kennel, and they'll have some bits of home. But there's also, like, if they hear people in the hallway of the hotel room, they're gonna start barking. Maybe the concierge will be able to, like, check in on them and take them for a walk. Some hotels have dog sitters. This hotel is pet friendly, so maybe we'll be able to have somebody dog sit, and so that would be nice. But what I was looking for a pumpkin. Oh no, I have to do this. What are you doing, Jules? This. I think I did not put this back properly. I will figure it out after. Okay. Let me fill this part out if I can in 3 minutes. So, this month's goals. I'll actually, like, figure it out. Goals, themes, once I get to October, because I don't know yet. Goals. I mean, getting through round 2 proofs is basically it. My goal for this month was to write 4 more chapters in my whip. That didn't happen. And the reason why it didn't happen is because surprise photography. So, but I got the bulk of this done. The things I have to do this month were actually quite a bit. The proofreading, finishing my author's website revamp, and photo shoot number 2. So, my goal, I have to also start doing the indexing. Things I want to do. I don't know what else though. Like, is it realistic for me to? Oh, that's gonna be another thing. Like, because my chronic migraines could also because of my sleep apnea, and what's it going to be like to not wake up with a migraine every single day forever, and like how much more productive just that alone is going to be if my migraines all these decades have been the result of sleep apnea. And all of this could have been dealt with before, but at least it's being dealt with now. My life expectancy suddenly went up because people with sleep apnea who are untreated, their life expectancy is not great because of all the things that lack of sleep, like the way that it works your body. words for this month. What should my word for October be? My word for September was rejoice. And I did a lot of rejoicing in September. September was a good month when it comes to rejoicing. Oh, and that is the time. I just realized that. It's looked over and that's time. So yeah, I will not be here next Saturday, but we will be back. Same bat time, same bat channel on October 8th. That reminds me, I need to just, while I'm thinking about it, put in my to-dos for this coming week is to schedule October's live streams. So schedule October plan with me's. That does need to be done this week. It's good chatting with you too, Anomic, and they're saying that I will see you in a couple weeks. Yes, and let us know how the photos did. I will talk all about that next time on 1 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. British time. Like this video if you enjoyed it, either live or on replay. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that if something happens and I can't stream, I will send out secret signals before like the 30-minute warning goes out, so you'll know that I'm having to cancel last minute. And everybody, stay safe, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Until next time, bye.